Welcome, cultists and cultites.
Don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it, and if you want to see similar content, subscribe. I also stream on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday if you want to hop in, ask any questions, or just enjoy a great time.
Now let's learn how to defeat Yatsu-no-kami.
He has a bunch of different attacks where he uses his snake arms to attack you. The first one that you always want to be looking out for is when he sticks both his arms into the ground and they pop out one and then the other. This is a great opportunity for you to just keep running, because as long as you keep moving, he won't hit you with the two snake arms. Run like towards him, but don't stop. And then when he's done with both, it's a great opportunity to attack his head. If you're close enough to him, he'll sometimes put his arms crossed into the ground. When this happens, they pop up together really quickly. If you're able to dodge it, it's a good opportunity to hit both his arms since they're right next to each other and his head. Sometimes if you're close, his snake arms will glow red and they'll go out and grab you and pull you inwards. You want to try and dodge this attack because it's unblockable, but not that big of a deal because it doesn't happen that often. The last snake attack he does is where he punches with his snake arms at you. This is also rare, and he can do it at 1 time, 2 times, up to 4 times, so just be aware, he's not going to stop at just one. He also has a grab attack where he grabs at you and spins around and twists you like a snake because he is a snake. This is easily dodgeable just by backing up or dodging back. Don't try to block, obviously, because it is a dodge attack. A lot of times after an attack, he'll reposition himself just by spinning around and backing up a little bit. This is not an attack, but it does look similar to his grab. But if you see it coming and you're nearby, an opportunity to hit him a little bit because he's not actually attacking with it. There's a couple close range moves which you should be aware of that he uses regardless of situation. The first one being tail slap, where he slaps his tail from behind him to in front of him. It's got a smaller range, it's not all around him, so you can dodge it pretty easily or block it. He's got tail whip, where he spins around and whips his tail all around him, so easier to block than dodge, but if you back up dodge, it's pretty easy to avoid. He has a small smash where he'll smash his head on the ground, and then he'll usually follow it up with a smash with his tail, but not always, so be aware. Also very easy to dodge because you can go left, right, or back, and not that hard to block. All of these close range moves have very low recovery periods, so he usually follows them up with either another close range move, a reposition, or some other move. Sometimes he'll spit poison at you. If you block it, you'll pretty much instantly get poisoned because of the huge poison buildup, but it won't create a poison pool on the ground. If you avoid it, obviously you won't get poisoned. If it is on the ground, then the poison will build up as you're standing in it, so avoid it. This is one of the biggest reasons to bring antidotes into the fight. There's a couple needle attacks, as I call them, where he throws the blades from his horn at you. You can't really tell which needle attack he's going to do, but if you look at the direction of the needles as they're coming out, you can actually figure out what they're going to do. He has 3 different versions. First is where he shoots the needles outwards. These needles will home a little bit, so I recommend blocking or dodging or running away very far because they will go towards you. He also has one where he sends the needles pointed straightwards. It's just a straight line. These are not homing, so if you can get between them, or you can dodge side to side, back, block. He also has ones where he points them inwards and they cross each other to hit. These also are not homing, so they're pretty easy to block or dodge. His first but rare burst attack is where he turns red and then smashes on the ground. It has a slower buildup, so if you can see it coming, it's great for brutes. Also not that hard for feral or phantom if you just time it with his smash downwards. His other burst attack, which is a lot more common, is the dash burst. This is actually really tricky for new players, and veteran players will like to figure out the timing on it because you can actually only burst counter it when he starts the dash and when he's turning around at a wall. You can't counter it when he's just sliding along the ground regularly. You also can't block it, so don't try to block. He'll hit you and then hurt you through your block regardless of your key level. It's actually pretty easy to burst counter once you know this trick though, because when you burst counter with brute, you just hit him when he's turning around, and if you're feral or phantom, you just activate it when he turns around and starts on the ground. Not that hard once you know this trick. His arm sticks that are on his arms will do the attacks that I mentioned before while he's in the regular realm, but once he creates a dark realm, his arms will actually disconnect and attack you. Also, if you destroy either one of the arms, he will no longer do any of his snake arm attacks. While the arm snakes are disconnected, they have a couple different attacks of their own, and they'll try to attack you themselves. They have a grab attack where they try to grab you. This leaves a yokai pool. They have a poison spit that doesn't actually leave a poison pool but does poison you. They have a bite, which is like a basic attack, and they have a tail whip that hits all around them and is always followed up by a tail slam. They disappear at the end of the dark realm, and after the dark realm he gains a new move where he will regenerate both his arms. If the snakes are destroyed on him or off of him, they will deal some damage to him directly as well. Before we get into the tips and tricks so that you can beat Yatsu-no-kami every time, let's talk a little bit about who Yatsu-no-kami is and where he comes from. In the game, he's described as a guardian deity to humans who have certain goals, which is slightly different than what he's described in Japanese lore. In Japanese lore, all Yato-no-kamis are snake deities, appearing in the Hatachi no Kuni Fuduko. Fuduki are apparently ancient Japanese reports presented to monarchs that hold art, culture, graphical, geographical, and historical records, as well as mythology and folklore. So it makes sense that Yato-no-kami would appear in there. I thought it was interesting that the name slightly changes from Yato-no-kami in Japanese lore and Yatsu-no-kami in the game itself. According to that lore, they lived in fields near government offices. They were said to bring affliction to humans, and it was said that anyone who laid eyes on it would have his family line exterminated. So a lot more dark background to Yatsu-no-kami in Japanese lore than in the in-game lore. In the game, it says Machi of the Yasu clan cultivated their land and drove out the Yatsu-no-kami. In fact, he put down a stake and said, "This is my land, this is your land." He also built a shrine to appease them and avoid their wrath. This is actually not that different from the history of Yato-no-kamis in Japanese lore. There's actually a story of a man named Yasu no Yuji no Machichi who cleared a field of reeds in the valley west of a government office where they lived, planting rice there. In response, the Yatsu-no-kami there gathered its fellow kami, which, if you don't know this, kami is the Japanese word for god, so it would gathered its fellow god and attempted to stop the farming. Machi grew enraged. He killed the Yato-no-kami, which scattered all the other deities. He erected a post and declared that kamis only belong above the post and humans belong below in the fields. And then he also said that he would be the priest for the kamis, offering his worship forever in exchange to not be cursed by Yato-no-kami for killing him. And then he built a shrine and enshrined Yato-no-kami there. The legend goes on to say that Machichi developed more fields there, and his descendants followed into his footsteps, carrying on the tradition to worship Yato-no-kami. It even goes on further to say that later, Mibano Morji Maro occupied the same value and erected a moat there. Yato-no-kami hated that, reappeared in force, but Maro sent him off, got him away, and then Yato-no-kami was never heard from again. It was really cool to see the story and the whole entire story behind what the game just gives you a little taste of. The game also says that the one that you fight was gentle until Saito transformed it into an Armatama with spirit stones. My research into that was a little tricky, and I couldn't find anything about Armatama other than it's a surname in Japanese, so maybe there's no connection. But I did find that in Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Japanese card game, there is an Armatama card, which is a fiend spirit that can get you another spirit card, and another spirit card usually used with that is Yamato-no-kami. So I don't know if there's really a connection there or not, because I think Yamato-no-kami is actually a different thing, because it's like a warrior, it's not really a snake thing, and the spirit fiend isn't really have any description to it or anything that leads to think that it's a Yatsu-no-kami or anything. But interesting nonetheless, and cool to see into the little background and lore of what made Yatsu-no-kami in the game. If you're fighting Yatsu-no-kami in the first level that you meet him, then you definitely, most definitely want to destroy all the snake statues in the level before the boss fight. This is because these snake statues create pools of poison in the boss fight, and it's already hard enough to fight him without those poison pools dealing poison damage to you. As a little bonus, the statues are, the first one is along the main path. Then if you're at the first one and you turn around, there's a cave behind you that leads to the second one. And the third one is in the Dark Realm to the left of the boss fight. Another bonus, if you want to get to that one to the left of the boss fight easier, go to the left of the entrance of that room. You'll see a Nurikabe. Get past that by gesturing at it or fighting it, and kill the people up on the ledge, and you can drop straight down to the statue, destroying the Dark Realm and getting rid of the statue in one easy go. The second tip I can give you while fighting him is to get rid of his arms. Now, this is both a tip that you should or should not take depending on how you want to fight him, because by getting rid of his arms, you get rid of his snake arm attacks, including the best attack to hit his head and his body in general, where he sticks both his arms and pops them out one by one. You may not want to take them, but if you're having a lot of trouble in the Dark Realm with the snakes coming back up, I do recommend taking them out, especially because they deal extra damage. The best ways to do this, I think, is to lock onto the body instead of the head, because then you can get to his side easier and hit those arms for some of his attacks. The third tip I can give you is to destroy his weak point on his head. It looks like Amrita shards and it keeps regenerating. This is great because that means you can keep doing max ki damage, and if you can get his max ki down to 0, you can execute him. A great opportunity for this is wait for the Dark Realm, because in the Dark Realm all of your yokai abilities deal extra damage, meaning extra max ki damage, and then use a higher reaching yokai ability to deal damage to his head, dealing max ki damage, breaking his head, dealing even more max ki damage. Great options of this are Enki and Ipandarta, but other ones obviously still exist. You just want to hit that head, dealing max damage by destroying the head and by using a yokai ability, getting even better odds of executing him. The third tip is to definitely kill the snakes, either on his arms before the Dark Realm, or if you get into the Dark Realm and the snakes exist because either you've been avoiding it or you just weren't able to do it, kill the snakes as fast as you can so that you're not dealing with 3 people in the Dark Realm. The best way to do this, I think, is to use ranged attacks like your bow or your gun really quickly, or if you have ninjutsu or magic, on the snakes while in the Dark Realm and then getting rid of them quickly. If you can't do this, if it's really hard to kill the snakes, then don't worry about it. Just avoid the entire Dark Realm, because I don't think it's worth fighting if you have to deal with the snakes. So just avoid him the whole time. He will run out and eventually the Dark Realm will end and you won't have to deal with the snakes anymore. And as always, burst counter, burst counter, burst counter. This guy is actually trickier for newcomers because his burst attack where he dashes is hard to burst counter, but once you know the trick that you have to burst when he starts it or when he turns around at a wall, not that difficult. Just run away from it and get him near a wall, get him to turn around, then burst counter. If you guys want to see another boss breakdown, check out the video right here. If you guys want to see another video by me that YouTube recommends, check it out right here. If you enjoyed this video and want to see similar content, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit that bell. If you want to talk to me directly, ask any questions, or just hang out, I stream on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Link in the description below.
And I hope you have a death-filled day.